I made a conference of all Texas teams in college football 25. So we've got all 13 FBS teams located in Texas in one conference. We moved them to the Pac-12, but we're going to call it the Big Tex Conference. So I went ahead and created a coach for every one of these teams. And then I went ahead and got year one underway. Went ahead and simmed most of the season, and as expected, Texas is at the top of the conference. Nothing really too surprising. Everybody kind of around the same record, but UTEP at the bottom, 0-7. And even with the 2 losses, Texas is projected to be the 4th highest ranked conference champion and have a first-round bye in the playoffs. They'll be taking on Baylor in the first ever Big Tex Conference Championship, though it does look like Texas lost another game toward the end of the season. All but 3 of our teams finished with a bowl-eligible record. And in the conference championship, Texas took control of this game and never really let go. They ended up winning this thing by 25 points over the Baylor Bears. The Longhorns hoist the first ever Big Tex championship trophy, and that gets them a playoff game against Penn State as they just get in as the 12 seed. And they go on the road and get the win in one of the toughest environments in college football. Baylor wins their bowl game. Texas Tech beats Army, and A&M and Texas State end up losing. Texas is going up against UCF in the Sugar Bowl quarterfinal. This game was actually pretty close, as you can see. Coming down to the end of the 4th quarter here, where eventually UCF gets in position and ends up kicking a field goal to tie this thing up at 27. This ends up taking us to overtime, where Quinn Ewers fakes the handoff. He stands in the pocket, fires for the end zone, and it's picked off, coming back the other way. And UCF only needs a field goal to win this game, but they take it in all the way with the pitch. And that is how the season ends for our conference in year 1. In year 2, Texas is back in the conference championship, this time taking on Texas A&M. And I expect to see this rivalry grow, with these being 2 of the biggest programs in the state. With our top 2 teams having double-digit win seasons, it seems like there's a little more separation this year. And I kind of just want to show off some of the player stats from this season. You saw Arch Manning there. Just for the sake of showing it off. I mean, I'm not seeing anything too eye-popping, but it's just interesting to look at. A&M currently projected as the 4th seed, but we'll see if that changes in this championship game, where the 2 teams are locked in a tight battle going into the 4th quarter. A&M up by a touchdown, but Texas comes back and ties it up. We're in the final minutes, and I'm going into the game to check this one out. Under a minute to go in the game, Arch Manning gets this one off to an open target. He gets across midfield for a first down. Now facing a 3rd and 4, he rifles one complete for another first. That should put him in field goal range, but they're throwing the ball on 1st and 10, and Arch Manning is under pressure and goes down for a huge loss. That turns into a 59-yard field goal attempt with the playoffs on the line. It's up and it bounces off the crossbar. It's no good. A doink. And what a mistake, first by the Texas play callers, then by Arch Manning for taking that sack. It knocked him out of field goal range by inches. And that's going to give Texas A&M the time and field position for a Hail Mary attempt. Heaving this one up. Okay, it's well short, but a flag is thrown, and that's pass interference on the defense. So we'll get 15 yards and another shot at it. He loads up, fires this one deep to the back of the end zone, and it's knocked away incomplete. We're going to overtime. Manning swings one to the outside. He gets a block, and he's going to take this all the way to the 2-yard line. 1st and goal, they run it up the middle, and he dives and gets in for the touchdown in OT. Now it all comes down to Texas A&M and their offense, but it's Texas's defense who prevails, dragging them down in the backfield. Now on a 4th and 19, he gets rid of it. Diving catch made, and they say he's short. It looked like he was right there at the first down marker, but they ruled him short. And that's going to be how this game ends. An instant classic win for the Longhorns. Arch Manning threw for over 400 yards and got player of the game. And wow, what a catch this was on that last play. He dove, then got picked up and held on to it. Crazy. That sends Texas back to the playoffs as the 12th seed, this time facing Clemson. And once again, they go on the road and take care of business in a hostile environment to advance to the quarterfinal round of the playoffs, where in almost identical, heartbreaking fashion, they lose in overtime. this time to Boston College. And if it's any consolation, BC did end up beating Ohio State for the national championship. Year 2 brings our cumulative bowl record to 6-7, and I did not count the Hawaii Bowl because that was between 2 of our own teams. Now in year 3, it looks like our teams are starting to get up there and overall progressing their players, and actually every team in our conference this season is at least an 80 overall. The lowest overall team is actually an 81 with Sam Houston State and UTEP. But at the end of the season, it's still Texas at the top of the conference, even though Baylor and Texas Tech got up to 92 overall, as did Texas A&M. I'm not going to lie, I was expecting more teams in the top 25 with how tough our conference is this year. But the Longhorns blow out UTSA and claim their 3rd straight Big Tex championship. They beat Cincinnati in the first round of the playoffs, but the curse continues. They cannot make it past the 2nd round, losing to Oregon. Year 3 was our best season so far for bowl games, bringing our cumulative record above 500. In year 4, we finally have a new champion. The Baylor Bears at last take down Texas and secure their first ever Big Tex title. And they're also the first team in our conference to get a first round bye, but even with that, they fumble a game against USF, so we still can't make it past the quarterfinals. This was a down year for us in bowl games overall as we went 2-4. Moving on to year 5, and would you look at that, it's Sam Houston State of all teams that gives Texas their 2nd consecutive loss in the conference championship. So we have 2 new champions in back-to-back years. Despite the loss, Texas still made the playoffs as the 10 seed, but they get bounced in the first round by Miami. Sam Houston State won their bowl game against Army, but we go 2-4 again in bowls. Texas gets back on track, winning the conference title over UTEP in year 6. But despite that, they only went 9-5 and missed out on the playoffs. And this really doesn't make sense because it's shown almost every other team in the conference in the 60 overalls. But I have auto recruiting on for everybody, so I'm not sure if this is a glitch or what. But we ended up losing every bowl game, so something's definitely going wrong. In year 7, Texas makes it back-to-back conference titles once again, and this time they get in as the 12 seed, but they're going to have to take on the number 1 team in the country, Notre Dame, as the 5 seed because they're not in a conference. That's the highest they can get. It's a tie game in the 4th quarter, but Notre Dame drives down the field and scores a touchdown. Texas with the ball trying to respond. Notre Dame has it back, and it looks like they're going to run out the clock and get this victory. Oh, that was a tough one. Almost knocked off the number 1 team. So it's another weak bowl season with Rice getting our only conference win. In year 8, it looks like our teams have jumped back up in overall, and Texas, despite being a 90 overall, is a middle-of-the-pack team halfway through the season. And we get a new matchup for the conference championship with Baylor taking on Houston. It ends up being Baylor who runs away with this one and takes home their 2nd conference title. But it's another year of no playoffs for the Big Tex Conference, and we actually go 0-5 in bowl games. Just terrible. Texas with yet another championship in year 9. And they get a rematch against UCF in the playoffs, who they lost to in the quarterfinals all the way back in year 1. Clock is winding down. They only have time to get off one more play. The snap is taken with 2 seconds. Gets rid of it quickly, and he has a guy on the seam, and he's going to take it all the way. Texas is going to tie up this game and send it to overtime on a miracle last-second play. This game feels eerily similar to the year 1 game because we're in overtime, and the quarterback throws an interception and gets deflected. UCF only needs a field goal to win this game, but they're dropping back to pass. He throws for the end zone, and he gets too greedy and throws an interception himself. Texas is still alive, and their defense ends up holding UCF to a field goal on their next possession, so they've got a chance. On 3rd down, it's a play fake. Their quarterback throws, and it's caught by a receiver at the 3-yard line. On 2nd and goal, they go to the ground, running back trying to find a lane, and he's in for the touchdown, and Texas wins the game in walk-off fashion, moving on to the quarterfinals. They'll be taking on Oregon in the Rose Bowl. But unfortunately, they just got straight up blown out in this one. Never had a chance. As we approach the end of our 10-season simulation, our cumulative bowl record really isn't looking good, and we finish with another 2-4 season. In our last conference championship of this video, we get a wildly different matchup between Rice and Texas State, two very random teams. Texas State jumping out to an early lead here in the first quarter. They're up 14-0, 17-0, and Rice has not responded yet. Until right now, they finally get a touchdown. And I'm going to go ahead and spoil this game a little bit and just say that it actually gets super crazy. You see Texas State trying to jump out front with a big lead, but Rice just will not go away. And it's a tight game at halftime. Texas State scores quickly out of the half. They're up 14 on Rice. But Rice with the ball driving down the field, they score one possession game once again. And now the Owls have actually tied this one up at 35 going into the fourth quarter. I told you things get crazy here, and they've actually stormed all the way back to take the lead with about 10 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Rice leads this game. They're trying to run out the clock. They get a field goal. They're up by 13. Texas State with a long drive. They score. Now it's a 6-point ball game. About 2 minutes to go, and Rice has a chance to end it here with a stop, but it's complete for the first down, and a timeout is taken. Now, dropping back, Texas State, quarterback under some pressure, and he goes down. It's going to make it 4th and 26. Quarterback moving around, almost runs right into a defender, then unloads this ball deep down the field, and there's a flag. It's incomplete, but there's a flag, and that's going to be pass interference against Rice, which is only 15 yards, but it's an automatic first down. Into Rice territory, they've got the ball. It's a quick release by the quarterback, hits a seam for a big gain. They're moving the ball well with just over a minute to go. Another quick release, and it's to the 10-yard line, 1st and goal. Now it's 3rd and goal, 29 seconds left. Quarterback takes a snap, dropping back, finds a guy in the end zone, and Texas State is going to take the lead with an extra point. This one's not over yet. Rice still has some time, some timeouts. They only need a field goal. They get a big play right here. 14 seconds to go in regulation. They're going to throw it underneath. He's going to pick up the first down, but he fumbles the ball. The ball is loose, and Texas State falls on it, and that's going to seal the game. What an ending to an incredible game. An instant classic for sure. Texas State wins 49-48 to secure the final Big Tex Conference Championship of this video. Unfortunately, Texas State missed the playoffs by just one spot as UAB ended up winning their conference championship and getting the 12 seed. They did end up winning their bowl game, and we actually finished really strong as a conference, going 5-1 in bowls for an overall record of 22-32. Looking at the year 10 conference standings, Texas State actually had a great season, 13-1. That's like tied for the best record anybody's had, but surprised to see Texas A&M all the way down at the bottom. They could just never get it going. And if you watch this video, you know Texas pretty much dominated in every aspect, but we can go back here and actually take a look at the overall stats of these teams over the 10-year simulation. See Texas easily led in winning percentage. They were also the only team to have over 100 wins, 29 wins ahead of second place Baylor. And you can also see that only 5 of our 13 teams had winning records over this simulation. The Longhorns also had a winning record in all 10 seasons, and behind them in second place is North Texas, which I was pretty surprised about. I guess they were a bit of a sleeper, but those two teams along with Baylor were the only 3 to have winning records in over half of their seasons. Texas and Baylor were the only 2 teams to make the playoffs, but neither was very successful. Texas was kind of mediocre, did have a few wins, did make it to the semifinals, but no national championships or anything like that. Texas ended up winning 6 of the 10 conference championships. Baylor was the only other team to win multiple. And you can also see the number of NFL drafted players that these schools produced. Texas way ahead in that category as well with 7 first-rounders. Anyway, I thought this video was pretty interesting, and if you've made it this far, why not go ahead and subscribe? It would help me out a lot. And I just want to say thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.